The brain is a complex organ which controls every action you make, every feeling you have, and what you are thinking. It is made up of billions of interconnected neurons, and different regions of the brain carry out very different functions. Your brain is not only protected by your skull, but a protective layer called the meninges. There are 3 different areas of the brain that you need to know about. The Cerebral Cortex, which deals with memory, intelligence and consciousness. The cerebellum, which coordinates muscular contractions and activity. And finally, the medulla, which controls things such as your heartbeat and breathing, as this part deals with activities you do without thinking about them. This next section is now for higher tier students. The brain isn't the easiest of organs to investigate because of its placement inside the skull. There are, however, some ways in which neuroscientists have been able to get around the issue. They might be able to find things out by studying patients with brain damage. If someone has damaged a particular part of their brain and they change their behaviour somehow, or their memory function changes, then doctors know that this part of the brain is responsible for that particular function. Another way to find out things about the brain is using electrical stimulants. In surgery, a doctor can electrically stimulate parts of the brain to see what effects it has on the patient. Certain feelings, such as anxiety, can be brought on simply by stimulating the brain. Finally, MRI scans can be used. MRI scans essentially take images of the brain. If someone has a certain condition which prevents them from carrying out a particular function, an MRI scan can show which parts of the brain are affected. The complexity of the brain, but also its delicacy, means that treating and investigating brain disorders is not an easy task. Drugs can sometimes be used to treat disorders, but they are not always effective, and surgery would be made easier with a better understanding of the brain. Let's now take a look at the eye. The structure of the human eye is massively complex. The eye contains many light-sensitive receptors, and so this means it is a sense organ. These receptors are found on the retina of the eye. When the light hits the retina, impulses are sent to the brain, and the brain interprets the image. There is one position where there is no retina, and this is the optic nerve. The optic nerve is the nerve where the impulses are sent along. However, because there is no retina here, this is known as a blind spot. The brain, however, being clever, fills in this blind spot. Just out from the retina is the sclera. This is the outer white part of the eye. The cornea, found at the front of the eye, is transparent so that light is able to get through. The cornea also focuses the light onto the retina. The pupil is the hole through which light gets in. Sometimes the amount of light that needs to get through may change, and this is where the iris comes in. The iris will contract or relax to make the pupil larger or smaller. In dim light, the pupil is larger, while in bright light, the pupil will be made smaller. The light will then pass through the lens. The lens needs to be held in the correct place, and so suspensory and ciliary muscles are used to do this. These muscles also have a role in seeing objects, which we're going to look at in just a moment. A jelly-like substance also fills the eyeball. The eye needs to be adapted to allow you to see both near and far objects. Accommodation is the process of changing the shape of the lens to focus on near or distant objects. To focus on a near object, the ciliary muscles contract, the suspensory ligaments loosen, and so the lens is thicker and refracts light rays strongly. But to focus on a distant object, the ciliary muscles will be relaxed, the suspensory ligaments are pulled tight, and so the lens is thinner and only refracts the light rays slightly. It is important that the image is focused on the retina and not after or before it, as this will mean the image will be blurry. Also, the image on the retina is upside down, and the brain has to flip it around. 2 common defects are short-sightedness, or myopia, and long-sightedness, hyperopia. If you are short-sighted, then you can see objects which are close to you clearly, but not distant objects. The light from distant objects are focused before the retina, making them appear blurry. This is usually due to the lens being too curved. To treat short-sightedness, glasses with concave lenses are needed. With long-sightedness, the opposite is true, so close objects are blurry and distant ones are clear. The lens could be too flat, and this means the light from close objects focuses behind the retina. To fix this issue, glasses which have convex lenses are needed. There are some new ways in which these defects can be treated. One new way is using contact lenses. These lenses are put directly onto the surface of the eye, and they are often more suited for day-to-day life compared to glasses. Modern contacts are known as being soft lenses, which are made out of flexible materials and are more comfortable to wear than rigid hard lenses. Laser surgery is another option. This is where lasers are used to either reduce the thickness of the lens for short-sightedness, or to alter the curve of the lens for long-sightedness. Replacement lenses could also be another option. This is where the lenses are replaced with artificial ones, or additional permanent lenses are implanted into the eye. This method could lead to some serious issues such as retina damage or infections.